a story of the first time I did shrooms. I've done shrooms since then, but haven't done nearly as much as I did that night. First time I did it is when you do what is called a heroic dose, and I ended up doing that like an idiot my first time. So we all posted up in this Motel 6 in a room at the table, and my aunt had brought weed and shrooms and beer, and we decided we were going to split up everything with the shrooms, and she sectioned it out into 4 equal parts on the table. Started eating the shrooms. Now mind you, nobody knew exactly like measurements or weight or caps and stems, etc. It was just sorted out by 4 amateurs, and nobody knew exactly what they were doing. But I ate my amount, which was probably more than I should have eaten anyways. Then my ex and my aunt's friend started feeding me theirs, and I ended up eating almost half of each of their portioned out sections. Because I've always had a problem of not being able to do anything small, I always go big or way too big. And I ended up taking all the shrooms that I was given, all the shrooms that were given to me, and then licking all the spores off the table. I started to drink a beer and smoke a bowl, and that's when it hit. Okay, I want to take a little pause before I get to the story part of this, because my story is about a bad trip, and not all LSD or psilocybin studies are bad. In small doses, not big, go home like I did, but small doses tend to have really good effects for the 5-HT2 receptors versus SSRIs that are being currently used for like depression and other PTSD, etc. And studies could go further and do a lot better with psilocybin and LSD than those in the long run, because they work a lot faster. My story is about taking way too much and having a bad trip, so we'll get to that right now. When it started to hit, I like felt it. I'm like, whoa. And when I started doing that, my aunt was like, oh, he's faking it, completely faking it. And I'm like, and then I look over and my ex was also like, oh, quit, you're being dumb. Then their voices changed, and then their heads turned into gophers and started to mold into each other over the table. That's what I kept hearing, and that's what I kept doing back to them, and it made absolutely no sense at all. I popped up and I looked down at the floor, and it went up over my head, and I was stuck in the floor just staring down, going freaking crazy. Then they like stood up, one of them, and like, whoa, and grabbed me, and I like, whoa, when I turned around and I got near the curtain, and I went into the curtain, and I got stuck inside the curtain. That had gone on for a few seconds, and then one of them grabbed me, I think it was my ex, and pulled me away from the curtain. And I'm like, I need to go home now. And I started freaking screaming, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take you home. And then I don't remember the car ride, but I remember everything after the car ride. So we get to the apartment, and me and my ex are walking to the stairs, and I'm following her, and I'm walking behind her up the stairs, and we're just going off. I'm talking about all the crazy stuff that I'm seeing, and she's completely, "You're ruining my high," and flipping out, going off. We get inside the apartment, and even though everything, we still end up doing our thing, getting it on. And the whole time I'm commenting on like, "This is crazy, this is insane," and I'm, you know, tripping, obviously. And we get done, and I lay on my back, and I'm staring at the ceiling, which is spinning. And then just like all of a sudden, just like a fucking second, then I'm walking to the apartment again, and I'm tripping out, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, I'm having deja vu." And she's yelling at me, "Shut up. You're being stupid. You're ruining my high." I'm like, "This happened exactly like this before." And we're going up the stairs the exact same way. And we go inside the apartment the exact same way. She's saying all the same exact things. I'm saying all the exact same things. Reliving the exact same moment. We do our thing. We did it exactly the same. Everything. I relived that whole entire, from the time I got home till we got done doing our thing and laying in the bed and staring at the ceiling, all the exact same way. I lived it twice. And then I freaked out, got up, and ran into the bathroom. There, I just kind of got stuck looking in the mirror and examining myself. My dog, Mary Jane, was on the floor in the bathroom, and I looked over, and her like eyes were twitching, and like little parts of her body was flickering. And I spent a good few hours in the bathroom, and then I went back to the room, just stared at the ceiling spinning for another couple hours until my ex got up, and then we went back to the motel to find out the stories from them, my aunt and her friend, and they really didn't have anything. My aunt said that her toe turned into E.T. and was talking to her, but that was the only thing that happened amongst the two of them. Again, I don't have problems with hallucinogens, psilocybin and LSD, etc., but if you do it in moderation, especially your first time, or if you know what you're doing and you've done it before and you know what you can handle, that's a different situation. And I highly promote it for research and development because it could help a lot of people. But don't do what I did. Your first time, don't do a heroic dose. That's ridiculous, and I'll never do that again. But 20 years later, I did start taking shrooms again and microdosing, and it is a lot more fun. It is a lot better situation, and I have not hallucinated. I had a table swell on me once, but that's about it. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye.